quiet. My queen is speaking.
Are there influencers on the left? This is like a random question that I have with like MAGA influencers and stuff. Are there influencers on the left who they're kind of like afraid of as being like very like effective or like ones they want to take down?
Yeah, they are very scared of Hassan Piker.
Oh, they are?
That is like the one that they are scared of, because Hassan has the ability to capture what I believe to be someone like the alt-right men
Wait, who is afraid? Or what are they saying? Who's being afraid?
as well. Like there is a crossover between the people who gravitate towards a Nick Fuentes or a Tucker Carlson that could find better solace in someone like Hassan. They're terrified of Hassan Piker. Terrified.
That's fascinating to me. Oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah, no, there is crossover. And I mean, I've critiqued Hassan in the past, and like his stands will come for me. Like, I'm kind of the mindset of I really don't like a lot of things that he has to say, but I think he's a net good, and I think he like deserves a platform. I don't think he should be canceled. I do think he says some things that are like absolutely beyond the pale from time to time. But that is so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've always defended everyone's right to speak, even my biggest detractors. I think we should be very wary whenever there is an establishment push to silence anyone. I think that shows if the levers of capital are all fixated against one individual, you should probably pay attention to that.
I completely agree with that take. Like, I've always been of the mindset of like, especially with all the shit going on with the FCC right now, like, and I'm trying to like talk to conservatives and be like, listen, I think a lot of what you say on Fox News is stupid dog shit garbage, and I hate it, but I still do defend your right to say it. And listen to it and engage with it.
But also with people like Hassan or any streamer, they are live for so long and they are living the most honest articulation of like thought and commentary. They're going to say stupid shit, and that's okay. And I guess that goes back to like my thesis, right? It's like there has to be some forgiveness and grace to people being human and saying stupid shit. Because look, if anyone pulled up our texting group chats, you know, like we all say stupid things, and I think it's really important to put that humanity and being human and being stupid back into the public sphere and owning it. I think that is really important, especially like as we're building systems that aggregate humanity, and we purposely leave so much of humanity out. I think we have to put that back in, and we have to have grace for people who are human and decide to speak all day, every day.
I hear you. And my hot take is that the people who are the loudest about trying to like point fingers and cancel people are just trying to distract from their own shit and the own harm that they've caused.
Oh yes,
you know,
yes, we see that with MAGA. Yeah, the party of family values.
The real conversation is that CSAM is a fucking garbage term, and we should all stop using it and go back to child porn. Yeah, that's a dumb one. There's a guy. I always say this. I always worry about being like captured by my age, and I'm just like, oh, I'm saying exactly the same thing any 37-year-old would think going through, you know, this age, where it's like child porn was perfect, okay, and then they ruined it. No, I'm just kidding. The term child porn like makes like everybody knows. Nobody in their entire life has ever heard the term child porn, and they're like, wait. So children can consent to making porn because it's called pornography and it involves children? No one ever thought that. Never. In the history of all of child porn, no one ever thought that. But they're like, we have to call it CSAM so we can more accurately illustrate whatever it is. It kind of reminds me of the George Carlin bit. Although I don't... The reason why I brought up that, well, I'm 37, I think, is because I don't know if I fully agreed with the George Carlin bit. But the point applies here, I think.
They're all...
But... sometimes it does feel like we run down this euphemistic treadmill, and it's like, what are we doing here, guys? The unhoused. Really? The thing is that CSAM encapsulates more than just porn. For example, some of the 764 weirdos that got off on children mutilating themselves and their pets and other shit. How? Isn't CSAM, doesn't it stand for, I thought it was child sexual abuse material. Are you saying that non-sexual material is also considered CSAM? Because if so, that's even more fucking confusing. Yes, like children carving signs and shit into their body is CSAM. That's fucking retarded. And then I feel like it's even more fucking retarded. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Oh my fucking god. When the fuck is this debate? Holy shit. John Mearsheimer and Stephen Walt debate Mike Pompeo and Victoria Nuland on U.S. foreign wars. The Victoria Nuland leaked fucking voicemail was like the #1 thing that all of these weirdo fucking conspiracy nuts, Mearsheimer included, all of them hung their hat on that leaked phone call was proof that we'd orchestrated the 2014 Euromaidan. What does the motion mean? What motion? The influencer hosting this podcast is called Hassan a bigot, smeared him repeatedly with lies, accused him of being an animal abuser. She took part in the 1630 Fund/Chorus Dark Money program, takes lots of undisclosed political dollars, and crashed out Hassan regularly on threads. Nice. I wonder if a meteor told her to say that. What does the motion mean for the debate? What does the motion mean for the debate? Oh, the motion. Be it resolved, don't go hunting monsters. My guess is if there's a conflict and that conflict appears to be resolved, don't continue to pester and don't continue to dig to try to invent or find more enemies there. Otherwise, you're going to be in forever wars forever. Is my guess. So my guess is Mearsheimer and Walt are going to take the negative and Newland and Pompey are going to take the affirmative. That'd be my guess. You have it backwards? Wait, really? Hold on. It says it right there. Con pro. Be resolved, don't go hunting monsters. Wait, what did I say? Be it resolved, don't go hunting monsters. I might have said it backwards, sorry. Mearsheimer, I don't know much about Walt, but Mearsheimer is like the classic, every single thing Russia does is justifiable and understandable, and everything America does is evil and wrong and probably full of Jews. So I imagine that their side is going to be the stop going to war with everybody. It's basically going to be like, this is like a really fancy way of saying imperialism, good or imperialism bad. So be it resolved, don't go hunting monsters. It's a double negative, the fuck me here. So don't go hunting monsters. So be anti-imperialist. Don't go interfering in other countries. I would imagine that would be defended by Mearsheimer. And then obviously for Pompeo and then for Victoria Newland, what was her job? Like foreign ambassador or whatever? They're probably going to be a bit more pro-interventionalist. So they would say, well, we do go hunting monsters. Yeah, but I guess it's technically a double negative, so whatever. Fuck. Actually, what happened was, I'm going to be honest, I got the answer from an AI, and the AI fucked me there. That's what really happened. This motherfucker. I'm so triggered that these fucking guys accuse... I shouldn't get triggered. Listen, if you think my opinion is retarded or not, you know, well-informed or whatever the fuck, fine. But, like, you guys know that Rob was querying an AI for that entire debate, right? Which is fine. I don't even care. That's fine. If you're using AI to give you answers, or not, I'm sorry, not to give you answers, but to challenge points that I'm making, I think that's totally fine. I don't even care. That's fine. That's okay. Just don't lie about it and don't misrepresent it. But then they both started accusing me of using AI. And it's like, what? Like, on what basis? And then it's because I didn't remember what the Rucho case was about, which I don't, by the way. I know it comes up a lot, that, and I thought about it. I remember when we were reading the case, I was like, I should read, is it Browden? And is it Gingles or Jingles? I always fuck it up. But like, because these are two underlying cases that get brought up a ton. And the Rucho one or whatever was also brought up quite a bit, but I didn't read the underlying case for that, so I don't know 100%. But they accused me of AI because I got upset because Ryan didn't understand how severely reworked that Gingles framework is for bringing a Section 2 case against the federal, against a state that gerrymanders in a way that they would consider racially unacceptable. They're trying to gerrymander against certain races of people, and that Gingles framework is basically destroyed. And that was like the big part. That was the big part of the decision, right? That the Gingles framework was basically completely undone. Now Alito says he updated it. And then Kagan says that they completely destroyed it and they've revised it now. Or not revised it, but it's gone. And now it's like what does she want to call it? The Calais update or whatever? Or the Calais update is what she wanted to call it. But I'd asked questions, or I'd mentioned a few times before, I was like there's never going to be a Section 2 case brought again. And Ryan was like very confident with him. Oh yeah, of course they could. And then I think at the end I asked him, do you know how they updated the framework? And he had no idea. He couldn't even answer for any of the three preconditions. And it's like, if you don't know the answer to that, how the fuck were you answering any of my questions earlier? You haven't read the case. Which again, I just want to be clear, I don't care, okay? The cases are boring. It's all boring shit. And you don't need to read it to comment on it because fucking nobody else cares. But if you didn't read it, fine. But don't pretend you've read it. And then don't accuse me of not having read it. What the fuck? And then to like put a cherry on top, Rob tries to roast me here, who I don't think has ever read a Supreme Court decision in his life, by saying, how did Destiny, who claims over and over he isn't getting help from his chat, looking things up, etc., and has extensively read these cases, not have any knowledge of this? First of all, chat can say things to me, and I might bring them up. Like, I'm not gonna, I would never deny that. Or like, and looking things up, like, I don't have a textbook memory of every court case, especially when I'm looking for it. Yeah, of course I'm Googling things, but that's fine. I don't care if you Google things. Like during a debate, if I don't know what case to bring up, I'll Google it. I think I even asked them. I was like, wait, how do you spell that? Why do you think I'm asking how to spell it? For my own personal enjoyment or because I'm Googling it to look something up? But then he goes on this, as you can see, Alito mentions this right at the beginning of his explanation. Destiny is not good at debating these cases. He gets significant help from his audience and other sources and still performs miserably. And then when he knows he looks bad, he rage quits and then accuses others of not reading the court cases. This dumb motherfucker is quoting something here. This is not from fucking Alito. He's quoting from the goddamn syllabus, which is not written by Alito. So he's not even quoting the right part here, meaning somebody gave him this or he AI'd it and then it was like, this is the first time this comes up. And because he's never read a Supreme Court case before, he's giving me something from picture of the syllabus. This is not Alito's writing. Alito didn't write this. Why would you say that? And it's just like it's just a thing you would say if you've never read a Supreme Court case before. You would say this is from the syllabus right at the beginning. It's literally the court. What do they call? Is it the court reporter or the reporter of the court? No, the reporter of decisions is the one who writes the syllabus. Now that being said, the syllabus is going to be generally correct. Well, it should be, right? But they're summarizing what was written below. This is not the justices themselves writing, though. So if you want to know their rationale in more depth for the decision, you go and read the decision. But it was just so funny that he said it. It's like, you're literally demonstrating my point in real time right now. He responded again. I never claimed I read it. You claimed to have read it, and yet didn't know some basic facts of it. That is true. You had no idea about the Rousseau case, which would seem to belie your claims of having read these cases in a meaningful way. There are VODs. How long ago did we read this case? How old are my kick VODs? How long ago did we read this case? Shut up! How old are my kick VODs? Stop! I'm not even going to remember. Fuck me. Kick only goes back a month? Belie. Isn't it pronounced belly? No. I don't know why the fuck I'm even going through this. I don't need to prove this to you fucking legislation to enforce the mental basis. And then we read this the next day too. It's like there's VODs of me doing this. Why would I don't know, bro. Literally nothing matters anymore, I guess. Nine-0, guys. I didn't use AI for this post. I simply searched the decision for Rousseau and saw it was discussed several times. Merely saying decision instead of syllabus does nothing to disprove my point. More red herrings from you to avoid explaining how if you read these decisions you get so much wrong. Just because you read a decision on stream doesn't mean you understand or correctly recall it. Are you telling me you don't have orbiters and chat messaging you about these cases at times while you were debating them? Or that you aren't using search engines or AI during the debates? Big people do message me, and there are messages in chat. Like, yes, but I've never denied that. I use search engines sometimes. I don't think I would ever query an AI in a debate because the answer is just going to be too complex for the subject matter for me to be able to integrate that into my brain and then answer meaningfully. I just don't think you can do that unless you're having a really long casual conversation and the person doesn't mind waiting a few minutes. There's just no way that I could ask an AI something that complicated about a court ruling and then hope to get it correct. or to say anything meaningful about it. I'll just be repeating what the AI says. You actually went so far as to make up the name of a person in a case to try to prove your point because you didn't have an example. Remember John Smith? Like, it's obviously a troll, right? Because Ryan's push for me on the whether or not anybody's ever been restricted from a ballot before without having been criminally prosecuted first. And he's like, well, can you give me the name of somebody? It was like, fuck me, I don't fucking know. And I was like, John Smith. And he's like, is that a real name? Okay. Why bother talking with some dialogue tree retard from the debate cuck school of Andrew Wilson? True, actually. But this is why they were supposed to be blacklisted, but I couldn't help myself. Apparently, Frogan just didn't respond to the complaint? This can't be real, right? Usually you put in a, what is it called, Kafka? Like denials? Like you plead. It's not guilty in a civil case. You put a pleading in for your response, I guess. I don't know. Well, you wouldn't respond with no contest because then you would be guilty of everything, right? Or I guess maybe you could just go to arguing damages, maybe? I don't know. I don't know how that would work. Oh, look at how nice this is, guys. June 19th, 2025. Court case is 1 year old. How many docket entries? 16. Wow. Feels amazing, man. Meanwhile, what are we up to? Do you think we'll hit 300 by the end? No way, right? 264. Oh, by the way, they've posted the fucking name of the child sex trafficking victim in the last filings they did because they didn't redact her name. But you better believe they redacted Pixie's fucking name from every fucking filing they had to make sure they got that real correct. While they posted my address as well, which I know she'd love doing. I know it's intentional. Isn't one of these a maximize button? Am I crazy? Ugh, whatever. It appearing from the records in the above entitled action that summons has been served upon the defendants named below, because you have to be able to serve them with paperwork to put them on notice that there's a lawsuit. That's required. And it further appearing from the affidavit of counsel for plaintiff and other evidence as required by the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 55A, that each of the below defendants have failed to plead or otherwise defend in said action as directed in said summons and as provided in the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. So my guess is this has to do with how you're supposed to respond to a complaint. Or this is to the rules for entering a default judgment. Entering a default. When a party against whom a judgment for affirmative relief is sought has failed to plead or otherwise defend, and that failure is shown by affidavit or otherwise, the clerk must enter the party's default. Plead means she didn't, that's like the first stage. So they really didn't even reply to the initial complaint? Can anything negative happen from to Do from this? As long as you have money. I mean, hopefully there's a countersue available, and hopefully I can block her from ever taking the bar. That each of the below defendants have failed to plead or otherwise defend in said action as directed, blah, 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 blah. Now, therefore, on request of counsel, the default of each of the following named defendants is hereby entered. What did she do with all the money she raised? This just means that how do you decide how much the default judgment is? Since it's given by a statutory amount here, would it just be in the matter of $100,000? I don't remember what that, is it $150,000? Is it automatically the max judgment, or did they file anything? Hold on. Okay, so the complaint is filed by plaintiff. That's Ethan Klein. There's a similar naming mistake / error in the latest filing by Brettler. They had the name at the bottom of the email, but it was for a person we're calling Abby MC, but we can't use the full name, which is like 4 more letters. Fucking stupid. Stupid. But whatever. That's their cover name, okay. Civil cover sheet filed by plaintiff. Request for clerk to issue summons on complaint filed by plaintiff. Interesting. I don't know what is a summons here? Is this a way of asking the court to serve the defense? Maybe? What is a summons here technically? Summons resources and Westlaw provides... Okay. A particular note providing detailed guidance on the service of a defendant summons under the criminal procedure rules. Okay. I'm guessing they issued this. Certificate of interested parties filed by plaintiff. Report on the filing of an action regarding a copyright filed by TED Entertainment. Notice of lodging filed by plaintiff TED Entertainment. Notice of assignment to a district judge. These are the people who are going to be judging the case. Register of copyrights. What was this? Report on filing of copyright action. Oh, stuff for the record, I guess, to show what they're suing over or something, maybe. Notice to counsel, read consent to proceed before a U.S. magistrate judge. 21-day summons issued. Read complaint. So this is the summons issued. Wait, are you allowed to ask the court to issue a summons, or can you do it yourself, or does it depend, or? You request a court to issue a summons. Okay, so you don't usually issue it on your own. Standing order by Judge John F. Walter. Read this order carefully. It controls the case and differs in some respects from the local rules. Oh, because this was filed in federal court, I guess? Okay, this is all like on the second day right after the filing. Okay, a month later. Proof of service executed by plaintiff TED Entertainment upon defendant Morgan, whatever. Oh, this is Frogan. Served on 7/14, so July 14th. Service was executed upon Jane Doe, member of household, in compliance with federal civil procedure by substitute service at home address. Do you think she was hiding from the service? Is that why it took so long, or do you think it just takes a long time for the court to get these out? Stipulation for extension of time to file an answer to October 3rd, 2025 complaint. This was filed by Ethan. Did you see that Chud Logic shit got reported and it got a Discord/Twitch ban? I haven't over this latest shit. I thought about going the full like scorched earth report route. People have been spam reporting my Discord, by the way. But I didn't bother. It would, if I would have that, it would have been against Queeman, because I'm pretty sure he was like hurling multiple racial slurs at me. In that convo, I just didn't even notice it. I tune out like the twink voice; it just disappears in my mind. Okay, on August 1st, counsel for Frogan contacted counsel for TEI by email to contest the validity of service. Oh, so they were trying to say, well, your service didn't count. You didn't actually serve us. So they're playing games. Okay. Whereas in the same email, counsel for Frogan offered to resolve the issue and avoid unnecessary motion practice by 1, having TEI withdraw the July 18th, 2025 proof of service, or 2, having Frogan execute a waiver of service and receive an additional 60 days to respond to the complaint. Whereas on the same day, counsel for TEI responded to counsel for Frogan without consent. By the way, this is more ordinary practice where it's the defendants that are usually trying to push everything down the road more and more and more and more and more. But this has been the opposite in my case, where I wanted to get things over with as quickly as possible, and it's the plaintiff that is kicking the can down the road on everything. But in the same email, counsel for TEI offered to streamline the resolution of the issue by granting Frogan an additional 60 days to respond to the complaint. Ooh, that's a good counter. So they might say, well, wait, let's do 60-day extension to, provide service. But Ethan's lawyers are like, well, hold on. You motherfuckers are already saying that you're going to fight over this service. How about we just say you've been served, but we'll give you an additional 60 days. We can file a joint thing. We agree to give you additional 60 days to respond. Whereas counsel for Frogan agreed to this arrangement so long as Frogan preserved her right to file any responsive pleading pursuant to Federal Civil Procedure Rule 12 with the exception of contesting service under FRCP rules 12B 4-5 and counsel for TEI agreed. Okay, so they did agree on this. Whereas good cause exists for the stipulation because 1, it resolves the parties' issue, therefore it is thereby stipulated by and between the parties. Oh, okay, so they did agree to this. Give her additional 60 days to respond. Stipulation for extension of time. Okay. And then the judge probably just signed the proposed order. You basically write up the order for the judge. Like, listen, and as long as both parties are agreeing, right? Listen, we've both agreed on this shit. This is not like a response reply scenario. Like, here, judge, can you just sign this order that we both agreed to? So the judge probably just signed this order. And it seems like the judge did. That was in August 5th, 2025. What is this? 8 months later, May 19th. And they just didn't respond. There was no, you have the complaint is filed, you're pleading. So Ethan is saying, I'm suing you. And then the defense here needs to either enter their response, which might be a denial of the majority or all of the claims. It could be a motion to dismiss. But it sounds like they just filed nothing. So then it'll just be the default judgment, which I don't know how they determine if that's just going to be the full amount that Ethan was initially seeking in the complaint here. TEI be awarded defendants in each of their profits plus TEI's losses attributable to the defendants, infringement of the nuke, the exact sum to be proven at the time of trial, or, if elected, statutory damages in the amount of $150K, awarded reasonable attorney's fees, awarded prejudgment interest as allowed by law, and awarded any further relief as the court deems proper. So it'll probably be, I don't know if they'll get attorney's fees, but it sounds like they'll just get the full $150K. What did, how much did she fundraise for this? At Destiny, there's a rumor going around that this may be part of Denham's strategy. The theory is that she is effectively paying Frogan not to file anything yet so that they can wait and see how the judge rules, allowing her legal team to prepare for whatever decision is made. There are also rumors that Frogan has left the country, so collecting any money from could be extremely... Well, what do you mean? The judge is going to give them the default, no? What do you mean? No? She fundraised $38,000. Question mark, that's retarded? Well, that might not be retarded because I'm reading through their prayer for relief down here and it sounds like they're implicating the H3 snark people in some of this lawsuit. And if that is the case, it's possible that Frogan participating in this lawsuit could get more information to Ethan that could help him in the lawsuit against Denham's. So if that were the case, it might make sense for Denham's to pay Frogan or for Frogan to just fuck off completely so that they're not fighting the same legal battle on two fronts. And then Denham's through her lawsuit can fight everything and Frogan could just take a default judgment, leave the country and say whatever. Maybe. I don't know if she's left the country, but I also don't know if you could garnish wages from somebody who gets like 1099 income. It's not like she's a W-2 earner or something, but you can. Is she broke? Well, something is strategic happening here, right? Because why would you not even respond at all to the lawsuit? Like, you could just say, like, you could just enter a default pleading of, like, you know, I didn't. What is your default pleading called in a civil case? It's not guilty, but you would refuse, or you would deny each of the claims stated in the complaint, and then you would just go through the process, I guess. Destiny. Also, this judgment can follow her to other countries if Ethan goes to the expense. Yeah, but don't you have to go to every single local court and like file the judgment there? I don't know how annoying that would be, but Destiny. I don't get civil court. Can I just sue anyone and they have to pay a lawyer and get discovery and get their messages and all their info? Yep. Read page 4. It's actually funny to see how much he tried to avoid service. Destiny, new attack on Democrat. Without Googling, what happened? Attacks on Spanberger for vetoing a bill, but probably not a law they could win on in court, and instead taking executive action? Is this about data centers? I don't fucking know. I don't care. Okay. We're on Ethan Klein drama right now. Okay. At the time of service, I was at least 18 and not a part of... At home. Papers were served on this date. They were mailed. Okay. This is a 5-story business-style apartment building that is secured by a locked door and intercom. Our subject name is not listed on the intercom list. No one was seen on the inside. I could not gain access. I decided to wait outside the front of the building until I was able to gain access by someone letting me in while they're leaving or arriving. Holy shit, he's taken. Oh my God. At 3:15 a.m.? Is that right? 3:15 a.m.? This guy is taken. What the fuck? At 3:15 a.m., I was able to gain access by following something after a resident or guest was leaving the building. I located where unit number 403 is. I can stand down the hallway and be able to stay out of view and be able to watch the unit without being stay out of view. Oh, I bet he's using a voice to text translator right now. I can stand down the hallway and be able to stay out of view and be able to watch the unit without being too inconspicuous. At 4:30 a.m., at this time, nobody left or entered the unit. I stepped away and left the location without being noticed. No activity, left at 4:30 a.m. Jesus Christ. He waited in there for an hour. And then here at 2:30 a.m. Oh, holy shit. Wait, how many times did they have to try to do service here? Upon arrival, I was not able to get access. The door to the property were locked. Approached the elevator, took the 4th floor. Maintained my position down the hall from 3:15 a.m. until 6:30 a.m. During this time, there were no changes. No one was seen entering or exiting the building. The door remained closed. I quietly walked up to the door and listened closely for any movement. I did hear movement on the inside. I did not knock on the door. Instead, I just took note of my findings. Hold on. I don't know. Never mind. Okay. 2 a.m. Upon arrival, I was not able to gain access. The doors of the property were locked. I maintained my position outside of the main entrance, sitting on a large planter. At 3:07 a.m., I was able to gain access. A resident was exiting the building. I proceeded to the elevator where blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then at 7:14, a week later, upon arrival, I could not gain access. The entrance to the building was locked. I positioned myself in front of the building, waiting for someone to enter or exit the property so I could gain access. At 2:12 p.m., I was able to gain access. I entered in after a resident was leaving with his dog. I proceeded to the 4th floor. I approached Unit 403, and I could hear a female voice talking. I could not tell what was being said, but it sounded like someone was giving their point of view. I stepped away and positioned myself in the hallway, far enough away as to not be seen by anyone within the unit looking out of the peephole. Throughout my time waiting, I could hear constant talking with brief moments of silence. At 6:12 p.m., I heard the doorknob of Unit 403 make noise, and the door quickly opened. Stepping out was a darker female, possibly African-American or Middle Eastern, in her 40s, 5'6", 155 pounds, dark, long, curly hair with dark eyes. I asked her if she is Morgan Majed. Is that Frogan's name? And she said, why? I said, I have legal documents for you. And she said she is not Morgan. I asked her if Morgan lived there, and she said, no, that she has lived there for 6 years and there's no Morgan. I asked her if she would show her ID, showing that she's not Morgan, and she refused. I told her that since she won't show her ID, that I will be serving her. She refused to take the documents, so I placed them in front of her door. The female saw me place them there. She said, I'm not Morgan. You can speak to the management. Sheesh. Well.
Good morning. We are here on the...
Oh, that's the basis interview. What does this have? This guy, bro. I have no hate in my heart, okay? But like... It's a little bit sheesh. I think basically just getting more people pregnant and shit. I just don't know, bro. Fuck, I didn't watch this yet. Oh, he made a short form of it. Is this intentional? I feel like he's framed Ethan here with the sun in the background. It kind of looks angelic.
An Israeli-American millionaire podcaster is suing...
What the fuck?
An Israeli-American millionaire podcaster...
I wanted to take Sam's side on this. Or Samson's, sorry. No, Samson's side on this. Because I did feel like we were getting into territory where it's like, are we... suing people for political opinions we disagree with? Like, your perspective on whether or not Ethan Klein is pro-genocide or not, I feel like that is a legitimate political opinion that can be debated. I don't know if I would want that litigated in court. But then I feel like if you kept watching, there were just so many claims that Noah Samson was making where it's like, bro, you are just fucking yourself so hard. Like, they became stronger statements of fact and not just political opinions. So I think I wanted to defend him so I could have the contrary take. But, yeah, I don't know.
Is suing me for defamation. Hi, I'm Noah Samson. I'm a YouTuber. I make videos about how Israel sucks. Last year, I uploaded this video, The YouTubers Who Backed the Genocide. And in response, Ethan Klein, host of the H3 podcast, filed a defamation lawsuit. Here it is. Here's the lawsuit. It's 31 pages. He's alleging that I defamed him by falsely painting him as a supporter of the genocide of Palestinians. I believe that Klein's claims are meritless, and I intend to defend against them. But to do this, I need your help. Defamation lawsuits can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I don't have that kind of money. So I started a GoFundMe, Klein v. Samson. I set the goal for $200,000, which will be used for lawyers' fees and legal expenses. However, any funds raised above this goal
We'll go
will
to
be
Palestine.
donated directly to Palestinian aid, and any funds that go unused or are recuperated
Go to
once
Palestine.
legal proceedings conclude will also be donated. I'll be doing a fundraising marathon stream on Friday, May 22nd, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Guests include FD Signifier.
Not legit. Ethan was never pro-genocide. I mean, I'm just saying you can have that as a political perspective. Like if you say like you support Israel, so you're pro-genocide, like I would say that's not a justiciable claim. That's a political opinion that doesn't belong in court. Obviously, I wouldn't consider myself pro-genocide, but like if somebody said I was pro-genocide, I don't know if that's like an actual claim. I just don't feel that. I would be really uncomfortable saying that. But I'm pretty sure the examples that Ethan gave, Noah Samson went way further than that and was like making absolute statements of fact about things that Ethan just didn't say. So I don't know. Fuck him.
Boy, Denims, iDubbbz, Big Joel, Frogan, Chris Kunzler, Overzealots, and more, and a bunch more. Donation goals include chug a gallon of milk, pie in the face, hot chip challenge, shoe on head cosplay, why not, run a marathon, and more. And if we make it to $500,000, I will ride a bicycle.
This case is baseless. If it goes through, it's a scary precedent for online creators. But yeah, fuck. Well, like I thought there were statements of fact in here. I would have to go back and reread Ethan's complaint that were pretty bad about things that Noah kept saying over and over again. Yeah, I don't know. Why does he pretend that he doesn't make enough money to defend himself? I mean, it's not like he posts a ton of YouTube videos, right? So he might not make that much money for this to be able to just throw a couple $100K at like a court case. I don't know. Fuck, I'm not gonna get to watch this. I don't even know what the fuck this I shouldn't. This is gonna be a wild one. Good luck.
We're just gonna get this show started. Diggers, can we test your audio just real quick? We're live, by the way, but I just want to make sure everyone, everything's good.
Test. Is that all good?
Yep, all works.
Nice.
We could hear Aiden. Destiny's here. Welcome, Destiny. How you doing?
Doing great.
Okay, you're a little. Let me tune you.
I'm doing great.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a little bit impromptu. I know that Aiden had been wanting to debate Destiny on a few things, and people tagged Dickers, and Dickers graciously agreed to show up as well. But today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the accusations that Destiny has been throwing around. He's accused different servers of engaging in malicious behavior. But Aiden, what exactly was your problem with some of the statements that Destiny has made so far? And can we cam up, gang? Do we have?
Yeah, sure. No worries. Yeah. So hold on, I'm just setting up cam. So to summarize it, essentially, hold on. Start virtual cam. Can you see me?
Yep.
All right, there we go.
See both of you?
Yeah. So, generally, some of my issues with Destiny's statements in relation to the Snark Left server is that I feel as though the server has been classified as a doxing server, a server where some sort of hard moral line has been crossed, but I don't feel as though that's been substantiated at all. I think the messages that were shown by Dan on the stream with Chad and Queeman, those messages did not show doxing, at least in the way that I would define it. It seems like, I mean, we should probably start by establishing a standard definition here, right? So we can agree on a standard definition before
we'll get to that. I just want to make sure that your issues are the same as Dicker's issues. I know, look, this is super last minute for you, Dicker, so I get it. But you've been critical of Destiny. What are your issues with Destiny? I just want to make sure we can get on the same page.
I mean, my issues are broadly similar to Aiden's. I think the whole characterization of the hysteria about people being in some Discord server with like 100 members or something, or the participation in such is some kind of like moral wrong. I think we are, like Keffels posted, in 2026. That's like the main thing. I'm also critical about some of the accusations that have been made and the implications that people want to drag
Wait,
out
can I
of
ask
those.
clarification? When you say,
but I am going to kill myself.
Let him finish,
if you
and
talk
then
about spicy
we'll
chat.
get to it.
oh yeah, I was just trying to understand what was
So I
being,
just want to.
being said. When you said Keffels posted, I just was trying to clarify what he meant by that.
Is there people that have some kind of like moral wrong by being implicated in some kind of like forum, some kind of Discord server? Yeah, that's kind of the gist of what I'm talking about there.
And just real quick, just a housekeeping thing. Destiny, can you cam up so we can see your face?
Oh, I thought it was
just
on.
do-
Sorry. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's all good. Just want to make sure people can see facial expressions and all that. It's just better for the algo. Okay. Once he gets there, welcome. Okay. Well, is that basically the thrust of your criticism? Then you were able to get it all out, Dickers. Is that good?
Yeah, basically that's going to be like the main concerns that I guess that I'd be interested in talking about. But yeah, spicy chat, I just can't be fucking asked. But yeah, everything else super cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
Fair enough. How do you respond to the accusations, Mr. Destiny?
Firstly, were either of you in the server?
Yep.
I was. Wait, you were?
I was. So I joined this server, like, I think when it first got created, I think I typed hi in there, and then I never looked in there again, and I got banned from there, like, 2 months ago, I think, because I fell out with the person that was running it at the time.
Wait, then how could you speak to anything in the server?
Well, you're the one making the claim. You're the one asserting that some sort of malice occurred, right? So I feel like it's your burden to substantiate that, and everything that I've seen, at least what you presented on stream, with Shud and Queeman, just didn't back that up, right? Or what Dan presented, and you were kind of backing.
Okay. And then was Dickers in the server? Or are you in the server?
I was. I am. Yes.
Okay. So my broad complaint. Also, wait, just curious, one more question. Why aren't Queeman or Justical here?
Were they asked?
I
there?
think they got invited, but it's like super last minute.
Yeah,
It's like an
it
hour
is
to go
very
before the
impromptu. I did tag them, and they are invited. And if they want to show up, they are more than welcome. They can jump backstage, and we can drag them in.
Okay.
But yeah.
Just curious. Okay. So my macro complaint is that I feel like this server has been involved in a long-term, year-plus weird harassment campaign of me, of anybody that is surrounding me, of things related to my personal life, and that the people involved in this server have a high cross-pollination in all of these other communities. It could be Spicy Chat, it could be Justical Server, whatever else, and that the only reason why these people are engaged in this harassment campaign is because they either don't like me personally, don't like my political beliefs, but all of the harassment is like related to trying to bully people out of my, I guess, sphere of influence and to make them disavow me or whatever else. And then on the micro claim here, some of what's been leaked so far seems to show that one of the things that this server engages in would be doxing people that they don't like, or doxing people that they get into petty squabbles with, or doxing people that they perceive as being near me. I won't name names, obviously, but as evidence of this over the past, I think, week, since this is all blown up again, I think about 10 doxes have been posted of people that are in my orbit that people feel like haven't disavowed me hard enough.
And to add to that, I know of at least 2 people who have DM'd me directly saying that they have, because of all of this, been doxxed, though I have no idea, and nor was I told, who actually did that. So yes.
Well, I think we can start this by saying, I've heard that happened to at least one person, and me and Dickers, I can speak from this, unequivocally denounce doxing you or anyone surrounding you. There's no reason to resort to those tactics. We can win through argumentation and not through like doing stupid shit like that. So we disavow that. I don't know of anybody that's doxed you or anyone around you. And I don't know anyone I know who knows anyone that's doxed you or anyone around you. But we don't stand by that. And I don't think the server did either. I haven't seen any evidence that there was doxing going on there. My understanding is it was just like a clipping server.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's even going to be like discussing that in like loose terms in any of like my spaces, at least. I'm sure Raid moderates in a similar way, but I think even right now in the server, any screenshots of KF whatsoever, even innocuous, they don't want to include those because, yeah, things are pretty fucking hot right now, and nobody wants to even fucking point people to it, right? So, yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry, wait, real quick, just so I can
hold on.
understand on what was said there. So are you saying that it was ordinarily part of your posting and there are 2 point people at Kiwi Farms threads?
No.
Okay, I feel like I misunderstood what you just said. It sounded like you said that nobody wants to do it right now because it's really hot and they feel like it would look bad because of all the heat around the server, which made it sound like...
look bad.
Nobody is saying
I
that's
didn't
like
say
the
look bad
like
at all.
if you're
So
like
One at a time. You're interrupting each other.
yeah, please shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
Dickers. If you're like okay, so
Wait.
if you're like trying to interpret
That
that in the
was
most
a
like
response to
bad
what I
faith way
said, Aiden.
possible, sure, you could interpret it like that. But I said, and Dickers agreed to this, we unequivocally, period, condemn doxing you or anyone around you. Not right now, not like at this present moment, in general. And he agreed to that. So I don't know how you would take from anything we've just said that we're saying don't dox right now specifically. It was an unequivocal condemnation.
Okay, wait, real quick.
So-
I think Dickers is on like a 5-second delay or something because it sounds like when people are talking, it's like delayed, or is it not still? Because it sounded like there's a big delay, and that's why.
Am I? I'm taking a look. I've got like a 92 millisecond delay. I might be delayed. If I am, excuse me, pardon me. But
Okay.
yeah. So to respond to what you said, no, it's not because it looks bad. People don't want to point it to it right now because it's super hot. Because suddenly somebody's going to go to like the KF thread, and then on the latest fucking page or something, there's going to be a docs. But it's not for like optical reasons. I mean, how many people are in there right now? People aren't worried about leaks or anything like that. It's just because they want to take a precaution. But no, it wouldn't be like normally engaged to talk about KF stuff. The most links, the most screenshots, that'd all be from public streams. Like that's the main goal. That's the main, I guess, purpose, use case that people use it for. Watching people's streams, talking about it, having a private space so they're not like, I guess, like logging in the fucking chat or whatever. Yeah.
Real quick, so how often do you think you guys, if you had to guess, would link to KF posts prior to all of the heat being on the server?
Like
Incredibly rarely. I mean, it wasn't even created when a lot of the KF stuff was happening. So I know you said that it happened or it was created about 2 years ago. That's not true. It's been around for the last 8 months. And maybe you can just say that it's like because there's nothing relevant on KF, but I've not seen that as a common thread.
Okay, so then you would say maybe...
I mean, you've got the logs, no? Have you not? I'm presuming we're having this conversation and Dan sent you over the logs, right? Or are you genuinely asking?
I'm genuinely asking. I'm just curious. If you had to guess how many times you feel like people would link to a KF thread in that server, would you say maybe like twice in a year? Would you like once a month, once a week?
I don't know if I was monitoring it that readily to be able to say. So I'll just say, I don't know, but very infrequently.
Well, how can you say both of those? Wouldn't the answer be, I don't know, I don't really watch it, but now you're saying, I don't know, but also it was definitely infrequent?
I'm saying that I'm not certain, but if I had to guess, incredibly infrequently.
Okay.
I can say that I'm not aware of a single time where KF has been linked in there, although I don't doubt that it's happened.
Well, okay, so are you making an accusation? Because it seems like you ask like very pointed questions that are like hinting at something without like overtly stating what you believe. I feel like what you mean to say is that like you believe the server was in coordination with Kiwi Farms, right? That's what you meant with that, like essentially what you meant.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. But I mean, we know my opinion, but I'm just asking questions to just kind of get some clear answers of like, how often do we feel like things were linked here? How often do we feel like this is being used? Is it being used right now? And then when the answer is, well, no, because it's hot right now, makes it feel like, so then it was used kind of semi-frequently in the past. I'm just trying to get a handle on how frequently in the past.
Well, no, I'll just explain what I said there. So I was posting because somebody was referencing me. I said explicitly in my Discord that, no, I don't want to be mentioned on Destiny's Kiwi Farms. That looks fucking awful right now with what's going on. And then somebody on Kiwi Farms is like, yeah, we love Dicker's Discord server. We love Dicker's TV Discord server. He's amazing. He's really funny. Like, this guy's fucking with me right now on the fucking farms. And I got told even that. Yeah, even posting that was apparently inappropriate, so...
Gotcha. And then as
I
a
don't
quick
usually
thing...
link, though. It's usually like a screenshot for whatever, but yeah.
Sure, and then just as a quick thing, are either of you in the server right now, or are both of you out of the server, or...
I've been banned for months.
I'm in the server.
Okay, all right, just checking. Okay. All right, so zoning in, I guess, more specifically on the OSINT League of Legends tool, are we saying that this is not, like, obviously doxing, or?
Nope, clearly not doxing. Okay, so if they were attempting to gather PII for the sake of malicious publication, which would be the definition of doxing, why didn't they publish the info?
Publish it where?
Well, doxing involves publication of any gathered PII. That would be the doxing part. So I'm curious, like, if their intention was to dox, as you're asserting this is obviously doxing, where did they post the info? And if they didn't, why didn't they?
Well, why do we think people dox people?
People dox people
For the
for
purposes of harassment, right? And how's that harassment going to happen if you don't post it to the public?
Because you guys are the harassers.
Wait, that's not doxing then. That's just harassment without doxing. If I get Aiden's full fucking information,
I'm so
and I go
sorry.
in jail
Can we
for
please
sport,
like
that's
can we just do
harassment.
this one at a time?
Let
Can we do this
Dickers
one at a
finish,
time?
right? You'd agree
Hold
with
on,
that.
let Dickers
I
finish
can't
his question.
I can't do a debate with them. Can we just do one at a time? Like you could debate him and then I'll come in.
Aiden,
I'm
you can
going
take
insane.
this one, okay?
I'm going fucking insane, dude.
go
Okay.
ahead, Aiden, please.
Holy shit. All right, where were we? Sorry. Okay, so what we were talking about was, so you're saying it's already loading the question. You got, or it's not the question, the statement that you guys harass. We're not harassing, at least us, that I know we're not harassing anyone, as most people in the server were not. But by definitionally, doxing has to utilize publication of that info, right? Merely viewing PII is not a dox. So I would like to ask again, why didn't they publish it if they were intending to dox?
Well, first of all, I don't agree that it has to be published for you to say that you've doxed somebody or gotten a dox on somebody. I think that if I were to find your full dox, I could, for instance, email you and I could say, I know you live at 111 Johnson Street, right? And I think you would say like,
you'd
holy
be
shit, this guy
threatening
doxed
me.
me, right? But nobody would be like, well,
And-
did he publish it anywhere? No, they say, of course, he doxed you.
Hold on, just a matter of legal fact. Like for defamation, what publish means is you sent it to one uninvolved third party. That's all that
Who's
means.
talking about defamation?
So
here?
if you are taking someone's docs information and you're sending it to someone else, even if it's in a private DM, that does count as publishing.
But it has to be for the purpose of harassment, right? Even in that instance. So, for example, if I send, I don't know, some third party's information over to Aiden, and I say, go fuck with them. I mean, I've distributed docs information for the purpose of harassment.
Yeah,
Right?
that's basically doxing by
If you're doing
proxy.
it-
We could colloquially call that doxing. I'm fine with that. You don't need to be necessarily
For
the one to
example, for example, if me and Aiden were having a conversation about a commentary topic, there's a huge KF thread that's going really fucking hot. Everybody's talking about it, and then the headline has somebody's docs information in it, their name or whatever the fuck, and the URL. I would feel comfortable sending that to Aiden in DMs because I know that he's not going to go and harass over that, and we're doing it for a legitimate purpose to find other information and not for the purpose of harassment, right?
I would agree with
I
that.
gue-
If
I
you're
guess. I
linking
wouldn't-
like
I-
if you're linking like a thread or whatever, I think it's whatever, especially if it's already blowing up. Depends a lot on the purposes of why you're linking things. But if you have people that are in a server and they're trying to find people's information so that they can use that information to harass them, I guess we can. Do you want to say that they're not doxing somebody?
Whoa.
They're just using.
Wait,
Okay,
Well, go ahead.
but do you see that? But do you see? Okay, the use that information to harass them component, I just has not been substantiated here, like at all. I feel like so. I just am curious where you're getting that. Are you like pulling it out of your ass?
Okay. Do you want to move from the doxing then to that part?
Well, this is in relation to the doxing. I believe that's like going to be an essential component to asserting that this was in fact doxing, which you and Dan have both done.
Yep. I mean, I don't really care so much about the doxing part. It's the harassment part, right? This is why people dox people
Okay,
so that they get harassed,
So is it
right?
doxing or is it not doxing? Because we can't really like you made an assertion. Doxing is like a pretty big deal, at least in our space. Like I feel like that's not just like something you could just like. Let's just move on to the next point. Like it either was doxing or it wasn't.
Why
and
is
I'm
doxing?
asking
Yeah,
you,
but why is doxing a big deal?
So doxing would be a big deal because you're making information accessible to to people who can then go and harass the targets of said information as a result. Can we agree that doxing also requires intent?
Yeah, to some extent, sure. But like, so then what you
Okay.
just said is agreeing with me. Doxing in and of itself kind of doesn't matter, right? Oh, here's his address. The thing that sucks is what people do with that
Yeah, of course
information,
it does.
right?
Yes, but I'm not. But if
No,
you're going to
no.
assert descriptively that it's
Okay,
doxing,
just real quick, you disagree. So Aiden disagrees. with
I think
Wait, sorry.
Dickers here.
so. Doxing is wrong in and of itself because it increases the likelihood, or it gives the availability for other people to go and do that harassment.
Correct.
Right. So I agree that it's not a direct harm, but you're only doing it with malicious intent because you know that harm is more likely as a result of that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And so it becomes immoral in and of itself.
Sure,
If
I
I drive
think you can-
drunk,
yeah,
it's
I-
not certain that I'm going to kill somebody, but
Yeah, I think I agree with that, right? Spiking a drink isn't bad because there's a spiked drink. It's bad because you want somebody to drink it and get drugged, right? Like that's the bad thing, right? This is the really bad thing. Assuming they never drank it, then, I mean, you could argue it's bad to spike because you wanted somebody to drink it, but like, you know, this is the thing we're focusing on, the harassment part. So if somebody has a server where they're using a tool to look up somebody's personal information with the goal of using that information to harass them, even if they don't publish that information elsewhere, if they're telling everybody else how to get the information, and then
then we could agree that would be doxing by proxy. Like when you I'm pretty sure when you direct appeal to like Anna's like Kiwi Farms thread, you probably knew that like her PI would probably be on there, and there would be a large mass that you couldn't control every individual member of that would therefore have access to that PII and use it for whatever reasons they can. You understand audiences and
well, sure, but I mean, like we can
individual
talk about this for a real thing. Why did I direct people to Anna's Kiwi Farms thread?
I guess just to contribute to it because you were. I don't know like the specific. I just know you did it. I saw the clip.
If you don't know the specifics, then why? So the answer is, I can tell you because I was there. I did it, right? The answer was,
well, yeah, obviously you're gonna know more than me. You're personally involved, but
yeah, exactly.
What detail am I missing?
Let Destiny say why, right?
So the answer is that I don't like this type of like obsessive gossip in my community. And I said that, listen, if you want to go and talk about this shit, go on Kiwi Farms to do it. I don't want to hear. Right. The goal was not go look up this information so we can all talk about it and dox and harass this person. It was go off here and go discuss it elsewhere. Don't talk about it in my community.
Did you know the forum you were directing them? Did you
Shut
the fuck? Shut the fuck up! Did you know that the forum you were directing them to?
I just want to. Can I just say how it's insane that instead of yelling at Destiny, you guys are yelling at each other? Why are you doing?
Because I can't do it, man. I just can't. I want to do this by myself. I gotta be honest with you, man. I can't. I can't. It's frustrating as shit, Dad. It's frustrating as shit. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I'll let you take it for a bit. What I was gonna say is, didn't Destiny ask on stream if anybody knew what Anna's parents did for a job? That does seem like you're trying to get some feedback, and you do want it in your spaces. You're asking what her parents did as a job, which would be PII of her family members. No?
What was the context of me asking that question?
I think you're asking it offhandedly on stream.
I would have to know the context of why I asked, but the person, when we go back to the linking to the Kiwi Farms thing or whatever, the explicit purpose of that was, if you want to talk about gossip shit, go here and do it. We don't do this in my space. If that, do you think that if...
Yeah, but
do you think that just real quick, I just want to ask you a context where that would be appropriate? Well,
yeah, or it wouldn't be like doxing, or you wouldn't be having that stuff in your space.
So if it was the case that on Gisticle server, on Spicy Chat, on whatever these weirdo snark
this
places,
feels like a deflection.
I'm answering your question, right? If it was the case that somebody was like, hey, we don't gossip about, Destiny shit here, and we don't, stalk an A-log and do all this shit. If you want to talk about it, go to his Kiwi Farms thread. Do you think I would have a problem with that? Or do you think I would be way more okay with that than how it's...
Returning back to my question, because I didn't get an answer to that. Can you think of a context where it's appropriate for, after you've said to direct your community, because that's your plan, to go and send them over to KF, you say it's so they don't talk about it in your space, which
correct?
Possibly fair, except for the fact that the URL has her docs in there, right? Can you then think of an appropriate context why you would then ask for PII or personal details about her parents, her family members?
I don't even know the timeline on that, on when that question is coming. So I'm just focusing on the directing people to another space to go and talk about shit. I would be beyond happy if all of these other spaces that obsessively talk about me were like, we don't do this here, go to his Kiwi Farms thread. I don't give a fuck to my docs on or whatever the fuck else. At least they're telling them to go have the conversation in a more appropriate space. But
did you know at the time that site was willing to host PII?
I don't know. I'm sure maybe colloquially. I'm sure they probably had my shit.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, I just was making sure because I feel like if you know that site is posting PII and you know that directing them to a forum that is hosting said PII will give thousands of people eyes on said PII, and amongst those thousands, it's very probable that at least one would be willing to take it a step further, right? I feel like at that point, if you have reasonable expectation that the person you're directing to engage in the action would go and do so maliciously, I feel like then you can make an argument for doxing by proxy. When Shamu and this Nick Andros guy were sharing it between each other, they both had reputations at stake to defend, and there was no vested interest in them just going and publicizing this information for the sake of harassment. They both had reasonable expectation that the other would not be publishing it.
So a couple things. So one, it wasn't to thousands of people. I'm pretty sure this was to my offline chat. And when you say, well, maybe you posted it for this reason, people were, wait. Hold on. Sorry, hold on. I just fucking somebody in my door. People were gossiping a ton about this person in my chat. And I said, if you want to talk about it, go here. I'm banning talk about it in my chat. I don't know how else.
It's a site that allows doxing and hosts PII, right?
Sure, it might, but it's better than the cross posting between the Kiwi Farms thread that was being talked about in my stream chat and then them going back and forth between the posts. The goal was to cut the conversation in my chat because I didn't want them talking about it in my community. Do you think that there would be more or less chance of them digging into, you know, this person's personal information or whatever, if the chat continued to talk about it, or if I just said, listen, if you want to talk about it, go there, go somewhere else.
Well, why couldn't you just ban it without directing them to a site that hosts a PII? I feel like there's a false dichotomy.
Because people kept referencing stuff that was coming up on the thread. People kept like asking questions about it. So I made a clear statement of like, if you want to talk about it, go here and talk about it. Don't talk about it
Why
here.
not
Wait,
just
is that true? Because I think when you initially were speaking about it, weren't your words, they've just created a brand new thread about Anna, go and fill it up there, go and talk about it in that space, I don't want it in mine. Was that not your exact words? That thread was new, no?
The thread might have been new, but it would have been a continuation of what was going on in my thread. Because everybody is doxxed. And
Oh, so they were linking to your thread at the time.
I don't know if they were linking to my thread, but the stuff that was being discussed on Kiwi Farms was being discussed in my chat. If Anna's thread hadn't been created yet, then it was the stuff that was in my thread. But they doxed. I'm pretty sure Mr. Girl Live and everybody else has been doxed in my thread as well. People dox people in my thread too.
Well,
but
why is it either or? Why can't you just definitively say like, hey, I'm not looking at these like sort of conversations in my chat. Like, you guys go talk amongst yourselves. Like, I'm just not looking for this right now. Why did it have to be directing them to the site that hosts PII and hosts docs?
If you have an issue with me linking to Kiwi Farms, you can have that issue. That's fine. But you can't pretend you can't pretend that my goal was to increase the amount of harassment or doxing or whatever else related to Anna. The goal was quite obviously to eliminate that talk in my chat, which we did ban for it afterwards. And it was telling them, if you want to talk about all these whatever bullshit, go here and do it. Don't do it in my chat.
Okay, but I feel like you kind of like have to be like stupid to not realize that like Kiwi Farms specifically is a forum that enables and facilitates harassment and doxing and hosts PII. You had to have known that at the time when you're directing people there. So even if I can't denote your intent per se, but I almost certainly believe that you knew what was happening on that site when you directed your audience there, and you knew that when you push them over, that's basically out of your control what they then go and do.
But people were already, some people were already visiting it. Some people were already like going back and forth between it. I just want to make a clear statement that I want to my community.
Well, that's something that is reasonably out of your control, right? If they're going and doing that on their own. But when you're then going and telling the entire mass voluntarily, they can go over there, that's something completely different than people just like naturally from your audience going and doing it on their own.
Let's say that I accept that framing, then isn't what you guys are doing orders of magnitude worse? Because you admitted that you are linking to Kiwi Farms threads in your spaces where you continue to talk about, engage with, create other accounts to deal with people that you're speaking about from those Kiwi Farms threads?
I don't fucking use
I didn't. Wait. I don't know why you just said I. Wait. I don't know why you said I didn't.
You can ask.
I'm asking.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I personally, so this
I
wouldn't
didn't.
be
Hold on.
like,
this isn't about you personally. I'm asking. Wouldn't that be the case?
I'm aware. I'm just clarifying. It's just
sure.
like a clarification.
So then I'm asking, wouldn't it be the case that if the people in that server were ever linking a Kiwi Farms thread, that whatever you're going to say about me, it's orders of magnitude, clearly and obviously worse in that space?
Well, I think the problem
Based
that
on
Bryn
what?
brought
You
up
have
here
not
is
presented-
I want to hear
URL.
Aiden. I want to hear Aiden answer that question.
Yeah,
Thank
let
you.
Then Dickers. I almost called you Beckett for whatever reason. No, British people all look the same.
Dude,
And
fuck
then
you,
Dickers.
man.
So sure, it could be magnitudes worse if okay, well no, you'd have to demonstrate. Oh, if people are linking Kiwi Farms. So I don't know what specific examples you're talking about, but it was an invite-only server with a much more controllable, smaller mass where it was like 100 people. If members took it too far, they could have been banned. A lot of them were verified creators and like verified I'm pretty sure you had to be known to get into the server, right? That's very different than like a mass of nameless, faceless chatters of much greater quantity that are being directed to this platform, and you won't be able to control like what they do. Now you could say, oh, well, amongst those 100 people, you could be directing people there, but reasonably speaking, somebody, if they're vetting every member, could reasonably believe that the people in that server have reputations at stake and would not be, and if they have no prior history of doxing, wouldn't be willing to actually go and utilize that PII for malicious purposes.
Okay, so none of this is responsive to my question. If you have 100 people in a server, and this server is obsessively talking about certain people, and then they link to their Kiwi Farms thread, why would them having a tightly controlled server, why would that matter? Why would that have anything to do with anything I just said? Wouldn't that count as doxing?
Okay, so because the people that were in that server have prior established reputations, and if they went and they know that doxing is a hard line in our space.
Well, when you say prior established reputations doxing, like what Shamu's done in the past, what I think even you have done in the past?
Well, Okay, that's literally the first time, like the first time we ever heard about the Shamu shit was from you guys. That was 3 years ago in a wholly separate community.
Sure, that's
in,
fine,
like,
but that
the
just
sector.
completely destroyed your entire carefully vetted creators with a reputation,
No,
whatever,
it wouldn't.
right?
No. Okay. No, it wouldn't, because obviously obviously when we say like vetting them, and I didn't even use the word. I don't even think I used the term carefully. It's just people that had no known reputation of doxing and no interest in doing so because they had prior established reputations to defend and would be socially alienated if they were to go and participate in this behavior in our space.
Okay, can you tell me what the vetting process was to get into this Discord then?
I'm pretty sure you just had to be like a known. I'm pretty sure you just had to be like a known person in like the space.
Okay, then there is no vetting. That's what you just said was just totally made up.
Well, that obviously, if somebody's a known figure in the space, they would have some sort of social connection, and therefore it would be a negative consequence would be alienation as a result of crossing the community's hard line of participation in doxing. And to our knowledge, nobody in that server ever did participate in doxing.
So nobody knew? Queeman didn't himself say that he had assumed that Shamu in the past had engaged in some kind of doxing? He didn't make that statement? Dickers hasn't Dickers literally made a video on you talking about you doxing somebody in the past?
Yes, and that should demonstrate to you the person whose info I shared had already been doxed. That should establish you how harsh this space takes doxing, right? My situation, I was unequivocally denounced by everybody. I basically got like put through the ringer for months. And it was like it was a shitty situation. I lost a lot of bridges over that.
Sure, but it wasn't because you doxed. It was because you were discovered to have, and then it brought that space into poor reputation, right? But there are doxers.
Where do you think I doxed?
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
Okay, so when you say that space, it was in my personal server. The whole reason the server that you're talking about got created is because I wouldn't let people constantly talk about you in my server because I was personally just very uninterested
So you sent
in the
them to the other
subject.
server to talk about it?
What'd you say?
So you sent it to the other space to talk about it, right? You
No,
I don't want you to talk about
no,
this person in my server, so go here.
No, that's not what I just said. The other space
that's why
was
I'm asking
created.
clarifying. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
the other space was created because I barred them from talking about it. They went and then created this other space where they would be allowed, I guess, to talk about this sort of shit that at the time I found incredibly boring. Nobody that is interested or nobody that was A-logging you was in like VC at the time or active in the chat at the time, and anyone who was like associated with your critics or is your critic unequivocally denounced me. I got cut off by JStalk cut me off. I got like, this is a hard line in this space, and I should be an example of that.
Well, so it sounds like the hard line is that apparently you were publicly outed for this, so they didn't want the association. But then the fact that you said yourself that you were in this space for 2 months, right? At least, sounds like there are people that engage in that behavior in that server, right?
What? When did I say anything like that?
When did you say anything like what?
I feel like that's like a non sequitur. Like how would that sound like there's people in the server that do that? I wasn't an active member. At that point, I'm pretty sure it was like a few weeks after that.
What do you mean by active member? Now we're saying you have to be an active member of the server?
I've typed a net total of 3 messages in that server, and they were like, "Hi, like how's it going?" Like in one day.
Sure, but you don't need to be an active member to be reading what's on the server and to copy paste information from it, right?
I was not, because when I wanted
wait.
to
I don't know why you just said what you did. I gave an example of a capability, right? Somebody could be reading what's in the server and not be an active member of the server. So people could be posting threads to Kiwi Farms or whatever else, and people like you who've doxed before or Shamu who've doxed before could be reading it and using that information now.
Sure. I mean, I've never gone and I've never disseminated.
Didn't ask if you did it personally. We're talking about the server.
Okay, yeah, you're saying that people within the server, because of what I did, it demonstrates that people in the server were not adequately vetted prior to entry, right? But if we didn't know about the Shamu shit, then how exactly? I mean, unless like if it's a CIA vetting process where like you're going through somebody's like entire like messaging history, like across forums and like.
Didn't know about the Shamu shit. He was doing this in public Discord servers, no? Wasn't this like in his Discord server a few years ago or somebody else's Discord server a few years ago? It's not like these were top secret group chats or...
It was private.
Well, yeah, it was in a wholly different...
People
yeah, it was in
weren't
a
aware
wholly
of it.
different community.
That was the whole reason why.
Wait, when you say
That actually,
private,
like,
though, do you mean...
Hold on, Destiny, to be fair, I didn't know about it, right? Like, there's a lot of people who didn't know about it.
Well, I'm sorry, Wick, you didn't claim to have carefully vetted everybody that had gone into the server. He did.
Nobody said anything about careful. I said that the creators, the people in the server...
Wait, what do you think vetting means?
Okay, you said careful vetting. Vetting would be generally looking into somebody's background to some extent to make sure that they would not be a given risk to whatever it is you're having them participate in, right? So if you look through, since these are all public-facing people, to my knowledge, if you look through their like given past, what was publicly accessible at the time, and there was no evidence of doxing, and you knew that they had established reputations within the community and therefore social reputations to defend, that would be an adequate enough vetting process. I agree it's still like kind of irresponsible, but I don't even think it's close to doxing or like what you did, directing an entire like large mass to, over to the Kiwi Farms thread towards someone they dislike.
And how many pages were even made in Anna's Kiwi Farms thread? Was it hundreds, thousands?
I have no clue. That's like I feel like that's just like not necessarily a super relevant detail.
I feel like it's pretty relevant because the implication is that I'm directing all my people over there and they're going to all be active participants in the thread. It was like 50 pages, if that, over years. Like nobody really posted. There was just a few people that were posting in my thread already that went over and filled out that thread. So this idea that I direct...
Does it matter how many pages it was? It's going to matter more the amount of information or the kind of information that was posted in that thread.
Well, no, I'm speaking to
You said earlier that you didn't reference to it after the fact, and the context was like, it was totally fine. You referenced the fucking Kiwi Farms thread, and then it was over. Did the Anna arc end after you linked to the Kiwi Farms thread? Or did it carry on, like chatter of Anna in your community?
Well, I think it carried on because she continued to talk about me every single day on her stream, unfortunately. But the the implication that I'm directing my community there to actively participate or whatever in thread, it's not borne out by what I said in chat. It's not borne out by what happened afterwards, and it's not borne out by the amount of posters and.
Didn't you just admit to it?
Admit to what?
Didn't you just admit to directing your community to go participate in your thread instead of yours? So how are you going to deny the implication when you just admitted it like a few minutes ago?
I said the point was not to tell them, guys, go gossip about it, go fill out all the stuff there. The point was I don't want this type of talk in my community. That was the point. Do you think
they were going there to talk about their day? What exactly do you think they're going to fucking Kiwi Farms to do?
I think the vast majority of them didn't go there at all. That's the evidence I was giving. I just said I didn't want this talk.
That would be a consequence. That would be the actual consequence. But at the time, you would have no way of actually necessarily knowing that outcome, right? You just knew that you were directing an audience there. If it's true that like not a lot of them went there, whatever, that's great. It's great that the reckless decision didn't like cause as much material harm or whatever.
Well, you're saying reckless decision, but it seems like I had a pretty good... First of all, you keep saying thousands. This is an offline chat, so I don't even know how many people are active.
I said thousands once. I just took your word for it when you said there weren't. I don't keep saying
well, it was
that.
an offline chat. I know what my chat is talking about most of the time. I think the vast majority of my chatters don't even know what fucking Kiwi Farms is, but a lot of stuff and rumors are being reposted from there to my chat. And if I don't, make some kind of comment on it, then people think there's a sweep or people aren't sure, why something's being censored or whatever. And I was like, listen, if you want to read about it, go here. You can be critical of my decision to post it. You can say, well, I think that was irresponsible, whatever. That's fine. But the accusation that I'm like intentionally doing this to further her dox or to further her harassment, that just doesn't make any sense. If I wanted to do that, we would just keep talking about it in a DGG chat or make a site like one of these secret discords that you guys make, or there would have been way more people posting in that thread because they all understood like this is the juicy thing that we need to do.
Okay, so you legitimately you believe that most of your audience has no idea what Kiwi Farms is, in your opinion?
Back then, absolutely not. Yeah, most did not know. Even today, actually,
they probably
most
do now,
don't.
though, right?
Well, around the Keffels arc, they would have, because Kiwi Farms became a lot more of a talking point, and then maybe now a few more do, but especially since I do majority politics, my guess is less than half. They might have heard the term before, but don't actually know what Kiwi Farms is. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know that's not how these crazy fucking communities work, right? You've got lurkers, then you've got chatters, then you'll get the people who are the most fucking engaged. I think I don't want to reference anything, so I don't think I'm even getting close to that. But even the people who do the really fucking bad shit, which is bad on your thread, we're talking about what? 5 people, 12 people, 20 people,
sure,
maybe.
But I would argue
it's
that's
not these huge swaths of people that are building that shit up.
Sure, but I would argue that's not ordinary Kiwi Farms behavior. I think the people in my thread are especially unhinged. I don't think that it's generally that there is open encouragement. I mean, like you can make the faces, but like Noel himself literally.
I'm like Hutch. I can't help but make the faces. Unfortunately,
Noel himself literally said that everybody in my thread was fucking unhinged and unwatched my thread because he didn't want to fucking deal with even reading it anymore because the people were so insane in there.
Yeah,
so I think that my thread is a little bit beyond.
Is it still not the case that you only need a few select individuals? I mean, for doxing, one person does it and it's done. You don't need thousands of people to go and fucking do this stuff. Okay. It only takes like one person, maybe a dozen dedicated posters.
Sure.
Kiwi
let's say
Farms
that is the case.
Website.
Sure. Let's say that is the case. Then I don't understand how this doesn't make your guys' decision to post this stuff in your own private server a million times worse.
Wasn't me, gang.
Okay, we can carry on. It's all right. Oh, he's back in.
Yeah, it must have been just an internet
Okay.
issue. I didn't
Sorry,
kick
my
him.
bad.
So,
Oh, you're okay.
You-
hit the wrong button.
you have the logs, and I guess you're making the accusation. So do you know what exactly was posted there? Because, for example, I don't know, do people actually link the URLs? At least I can say for my server, if any of the fucking URLs and any of that information has docs information, that is absolutely unequivocally banned. And then if people are posting to, like, I don't know, let's say some other server where somebody has, like, a totally public name, even then, it's going to depend what they're fucking posting to. Generally, as a rule of thumb, this is the way that I moderate it, is if you want to share a post, screenshot it, post that, and then blur any appropriate information. But link in directly to Kiwi Farms. Usually not.
We sort of.
As a rule of
I
thumb.
don't know what the sure, but again, for your own servers, that's fine. I'm just saying that if you have an issue with me linking to her KF thread, of which nothing came of that, and nothing. I mean, like I
Did
said,
it not? Was Anna not swatted? Did she not have complaints about that?
I've never in my life heard that before, and I know that if she was swatted, she would have
No?
heard that constantly. So I don't think so. No. So nothing really
I could
happened.
be wrong. I think she did come up with it constantly. No?
You could be wrong, but you also made that claim that I was talking about finding Anna's parents' information. That wasn't Anna; it was Kethel's. But that's another thing we can get into in the
That was
future.
Keffel's parents' information.
Correct. And I think it was after
Okay.
she was already talking about my family members. But regardless, I'm just saying that if you are of the mind that I shouldn't have posted that thread in my chat, you can be of that mind. That's fine. But like to say that my goal was to like intentionally cause more doxing related harassment or whatever towards Anna doesn't make any sense. It's not.
I
there
mean,
are so many
you were
other ways
saying
that I could have harassed
this
somebody.
girl was like super fucking obsessed with you. You at the time you really fucking hated Anna. That can't be denied, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But if
So
I really
she's
hated
locked
Anna,
you-
why wouldn't I just
She's
wait,
locked
wait,
you
wait,
in
wait,
the
wait, wait.
basement of her mind.
if she-
You've got this huge crazy drama. She's shit talking you all over these fucking streams, and it's really fucking twisting your brain, right? I could be sympathetic to that, but then when you say go, guys, and it wasn't an offline chat because there's a stream clip of you saying, "Hey, listen, guys, brand new Kiwi Farms thread. Go and talk there. Don't talk about it here." And then I think 2 months later or something, is it you start talking about Anna again?
Can I just ask, just for my clarity, Dickers, are you saying that with him stopping the people in his chat from talking about it and saying go do it elsewhere, is bad? Was
You
that
didn't
a
just say
smart-
elsewhere.
clearly-
You directed them
that's
to a
clearly not what I'm-
specific
that's clearly not
forum
what
I'm-
that
Okay.
is known for
Wait, hold
hosting
on, Aiden,
PII.
that question is to me, mate.
Yeah, but
And being
does that count as
harassment.
directing him them
That- well,
there,
it's
or
a
does it
stretch.
count
So
as
just
I mean,
as
it's
a quick,
literally
just as a
saying-
quick, just as a quick thing
Wait,
for the
how
meta,
could you
just
have
as a
a
quick,
more
because
unequivocal
it's-
statement than
Yeah.
here's a brand new Kiwi Farms thread, go there, post there? Can you think of a more unequivocal way to direct somebody to something?
First of all, I need a clip to see if that was my exact statement because that sounds a
If
little
you got a clip,
exaggerated.
we can show it. by the
Number
way. If you
one,
give it to me, I will-
yeah,
I will
whoever's
play it.
talking to you, I'm sure can provide the clip. Number one, but number
Well, we
two,
got an hour and a half
what
left,
I'm
so
saying
that
is
one
that number two, what I'm saying is that if I wanted to harass her because I hated her so much, why would I ban chat of her from my DG chat? Like this is a strained like argument. Like again,
You didn't want to trigger
Well,
anymore.
no. Well, you
right?
say okay.
And
So
you
for
haven't
example, when
mentioned
I
it in your
bring up
community.
consistent behavior, like the denunciation of like my behavior, right, from this community to demonstrate like the hard moral line with doxing, right? What that would indicate typically is that this community is a hard moral line with doxing, so they're willing to denounce me for it. But you'll imply something like, oh, so when it was like public with you, they denounced you, implying that like they did so at the time strategically, sort of like jumping, or you're totally fine with insinuating. You're completely fine with like injecting malintent whenever it comes to descriptions of like the behavior of the people you dislike. But then with you, you're like, oh, well, it makes no sense. Well, can't you use
well,
the
you're
same
generalizing.
explanation?
Well, sure. Well, no, because we just look at the surrounding behavior. If I wanted to harass Anna, I would have been able to do it way more effectively using my chat. Why would I tell people no more chatting about her here? Why would I do that? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, wouldn't that like sort of bring negative consequences to yourself? Like, in
Okay,
your-
Aiden, I don't know if you know the Anna law, but yeah. So
Wait, hold on,
The
wait. What do you
reason
mean?
why-
Wait, if it was so obvious that Kiwi Farms was such a horrible site, then why would I post that knowing that that would also bring negative harm to myself? Like, this doesn't make sense.
because you know that like conversations happen in your community about her triggered her at the time, right?
Yes.
Okay, and instead of just like canceling all out and saying we're not talking about Anna anymore, directing people to a Kiwi Farms thread. At the very least, you have to have the awareness that that would have led to some eventual harassment.
Not necessarily harassment. It's a containment zone. I don't know. I guess I'm explaining this for the audience because you're playing down. But like, people are going to be talking about stuff that's happening in other spaces, right? It's up to you to figure out if you want it in your community or if it has to happen elsewhere. So I don't want it in my community, but I know that there's a lot of stuff that's coming up that people are chatting about. I don't have another containment zone or whatever for it. And I figure on Kiwi Farms, people chat about it. I don't even know if I linked to her thread or is my thread or is Kiwi Farms. I was like, listen, if you want to go gossip about this shit, go fucking here. I don't want it in my fucking community. Like, that's it.
Okay. So I've got the quote. If you want to talk about what you said on stream, is that all right? I've just got the, I think this is the Mr. Girl manifesto.
Is it the clip?
This might be the quote where it comes from.
If it's
The quote,
clip,
and I guess Destiny can say if it jogs his memory, okay?
I guess. It'd be nice if we had the
quote,
the video, but...
Yeah, this is my only non-media blackout time. Somebody on Kiwi Farms has made a thread of Anna. I'm only doing non-media blackout because I know you fuckers are going to be finding it slowly over the next week or two and then talking about it in chat and getting big bans. So, if you're obsessed with Anna and you want to talk about her all the time, you, chatter, you can actually go to Kiwi Farms and you can post all you want. Read it all you want. Make accounts there. People put a lot of effort into categorizing and archiving everything. There you go, okay? All right, boom. Now back to media blackout. Oh, the reason why we go do media blackout is because anytime she gets any attention, that'll loop and feed into itself for fucking hours or weeks or months or whatever. So, yeah. You didn't want to fucking loop it on that shit, but you linked and directed people to those Kiwi Farms threads, right?
So, so it sounds like what I just said was that I don't want this conversation in my community. I don't want her getting constantly re-triggered by my community. I don't want this in my space. So the media blackout refers to the fact that we were not having any conversations about Anna. That was the media blackout. However, every time a new post is made in my thread, every time a new post is made somewhere else, like people in chat are like, did you guys see this? Or have you seen this? Blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, hold on. We're talking about Anna. If you want to talk about her, go somewhere else. Or go to Kiwi Farms. This is it. Go talk about it here.
Wait,
we're not talking about it here.
It doesn't seem
right?
like that is what's happening because you were during a media blackout anyway, and then you lifted that to go and direct people to the Anna stuff. So in a media blackout, when you've banned mentions of Anna, aren't people going to get banned for mentioning that stuff anyway?
Yeah, but I don't know why I have to explain this. I know, it's funny. We'll play the game. If somebody comes in chat and somebody's like, whoa, did you guys see what happened to the psychology girl? Like, you can ban that person. What happens after you ban that person, though?
Presumably they lose all of the attention under that name, and they have to go and make a new fucking account or a new email.
Everybody in chat is like, wait, why did we ban that person? What happened? Right? I can start banning people that ask why I banned the person, but like this, you can't do this. You have to address it. You have to say like, I banned this person because they brought up, but then in a few weeks or whatever, somebody else say, what about this or what about that? Right? It's you play this whack-a-mole game forever, and then you never stop the re-triggering because they're always going to be bringing stuff up in my chat.
You said a few minutes ago. You said a few minutes ago that that most of your chat at that point in time wasn't aware of Kiwi Farms. So when you say like, when I get rid of them, what do you think happens then? Well, if they didn't know about the site, most of your chat at that point in time, you've possibly just given a bunch of people who would have otherwise potentially sulked about it in private or complained to their friends another forum where they can do this, and a forum that you can't moderate. So where bad tactics are permitted.
It's
so
not a bad tactic, though. Hold on. Let's just reiterate.
No, just to be clear, what Aiden is saying here.
No, stop. Wait, don't translate for these guys. They don't need help. Okay. If your impression from that message, also, was this a thing I said on stream, or was this a message that I typed in chat?
According to you, it was
something you said on stream. No, it was something that you said on stream.
Okay, so if I'm saying...
You can even look at the intonations there if you're, like, doubting it. So, if you're obsessed with Anna, and you want to go and talk about her all the time, chatter, you can actually go to Kiwi Farms, you can post all you want, that stuff.
Sure.
So it's something you said on stream.
Okay, sure. So, if there's a media blackout, but people keep bringing it up, and then I stop the media blackout, and I say, if you want to go talk about this, go to Kiwi Farms, talk about it. And then I say, no more talking about Anna. How is the assumption here that I'm trying to...
Okay, yeah. Here's the question, I suppose.
Yep.
What's more innocuous and what's more harmful? People making offhanded, coded references in your chat to stuff about Anna, and that's going to make her loop on the attention. Or going to Kiwi Farms, where people, in your words, categorize, archive, catalog, all of this fucking behavior, and it's there as like a permanent fucking harassment tool. If people wanted to harass her, right?
Well, so I don't know if Kiwi Farms is a permanent harassment tool necessarily, number one. But number two... You're asking me what would be worse?
Yeah, which would be innocuous, which would be more harmful?
The having it constantly brought up in my chat where we have to constantly address it over weeks and months is worse.
Well, that doesn't sound like that's a concern for Anna at that point. That just sounds like it's a fucking headache for you.
Why do you think? Of course it was a concern for Anna. What do you mean?
Because having people as a permanent catalog of her docs or information there, that can be banned from your offline chat, and it's harder to find information there. But on Kiwi Farms, you're right. You accurately describe it. People archive, people categorize, people log that shit for fucking
the things
days,
that she
and
were
it's there
looping at were
permanently. You can't
messages
shut that
in
shit
my
down.
chat that were being given to her that she was looping off of. They were things that there were screenshots of messages coming from my chat.
Yes.
So I don't want people talking about it in my chat. But I can't be playing
Yeah, but do
whack-a-mole
you
and
not think
banning.
that when Kiwi Farms... Do you not think that when a Kiwi Farms thread starts, that has the huge potential of escalating it massively?
I mean, it could, but don't you agree that my chatters continuing to ask about stuff posted there could also escalate it massively?
It could make her loop on it, since I think she had mental illnesses. But in terms of reaching IRL harassment or people going to those fucking lengths, no, I don't think so. I think your DGG chat, well, maybe not now.
Hold on, wait.
Just
To be clear, real quick, there was no IRL harassment of her, though, from the Kiwi Farms thread, right? So I don't know why we're bringing that up, number one. And then number two, I'm pretty sure that after I banned it from my chat for some time, she did stop looping on things. Again, this is the only reason why we're
going over to the Kiwi.
The only reason why we're running down this is I have to illustrate for people that are listening. Okay, again,
it's a pivot
it's not a pivot technically.
from the Snark server because you can't prove that anybody doxed them there.
Well,
No.
It's not a pivot.
Talking about the
This is
Snark
what-
server is what I would rather be talking about, which is fine. The reason why I want to talk about this point, though, is because I know that you guys have mind-fucked yourselves on this for years on this rumored talking point. And I actually just, with what Dickers just said, I actually just understood now what you mind-fucked yourself on. When you said, you just said that you wanted to keep Anna from looping on this because it was a headache to you. Do you think the only reason why I banned talk of her in my chats was because I just didn't like it? And it was bothering me?
And it got attributed to you, yeah. And so it's on a secondary
Are
platform.
you not
and
aware
so
that
you
she
don't get
asked me
blamed for
over
it.
and over and over again to make it so that people wouldn't say things about her in my chat? You think I did that only because...
Yeah, and then when people would, the blame would fall on you, right? So it's a headache for you.
Do you have any evidence of that at all?
Well, that's my interpretation. That's my argument. I mean, given the fact you were coming here with no fucking snark logs, I mean, are we gonna ask that question the entire debate?
Well, we can get to the snark logs. We can get to the snark logs. But
That's
I'm just
my
saying
argument.
that,
Your
sure.
mindset at the time.
You
Do
can
I
say
have
that
direct
that's
evidence. No,
yeah.
I haven't got a CT scan.
You can say that's the evidence. That's fine, okay. But I'm just saying that the story that you guys are telling is that I wanted to maliciously link Anna's snark thread on Kiwi Farms in order to maximize the amount of harassment that she would receive because I hated her and she was causing me a headache, but I wanted plausible deniability. Even though I'm linking the Kiwi Farms directly. Oh, wait, let me finish. Even though I'm linking the Kiwi Farms thread directly in my chat under my own name, somehow I'm doing this because I want to shed all deniability for myself, but I also want to continue to maximize harassment against her. And then we stopped talking about her in my chat. And that seems to, for a while at least, calm down the looping stuff or whatever. My story is that I don't like it when people gossip in my chat, that she was complaining about messages coming from my chat talking about her. So I do a media blackout in my chat so that people stop referencing her. But then every time a new thing is posted in my Kiwi Farms thread, of which stuff continued to be posted, every time a new thing is posted, somebody would shut my shut and go, did you guys see this? Did you guys see that? Until eventually I would say, okay, hold on. This is about Anna. We're talking about her. If you want to talk about her, go to Kiwi Farms, talk about her. Don't talk about her in my community. We're not doing this here. We're not having these conversations here. And then I say, back to not talking about her. For you to run with that and say, well, you were just doing this because you were trying to maximize the harassment of Anna. You can have that opinion, but it's a stretch. And given the fact that there was no real life harassment of Anna that came from it, number one, and number two, that thread was a dead thread. It didn't even spawn anything because why would it?
I do want to allow Dickers.
I'm not even sure if that's true.
If
but
that
okay.
isn't his argument, Dickers, I'm going to give you the microphone. Then if you want to re-clarify or restate it or whatever, now's a chance. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get an honest point on this. Maybe not. I mean, this has all been so fucking.
If you want to move on, that's fine.
It might be fucking. No.
You can ask me any question. Don't keep it up. I'll answer whatever.
Question, yeah.
Yeah.
Because maybe we'll get a more honest answer to this, possibly. Do you regret it in the end, linking to a Kiwi Farms thread and having it there, rather than being moderated in your spaces? Because at least in your spaces, chatters aren't going to do fucking crazy shit like go there, fuck with her, archive the crash outs, link to that permanently.
No, Kiwi Farms doesn't.
In your fucking chat, that's
nobody
not
had done that.
Dedicated.
Nobody had done that to me and my thread. And my thread was 1,000 pages.
Wait, what do you mean?
I don't
'cause
think
you're
people
like
were
a huge fucking media figure.
Yeah,
Anna
but
is
if I had-
predominantly known as somebody that you had sex with, and
Sure.
then
If
kind
I
of
had
looped and went
1,000
crazy.
pages or whatever in my thread, and I don't think I was getting swatted back then. I don't think I was. Why would
Did I say anything about swatting? I don't think I did.
What other real life harassment are you referring to?
Well, I'm not talking about real life harassment. I said
Well, he's-
online harassment in that instance.
He said earlier
Because
he
you've got
personally
people
believes
who are gonna-
doxing is bad in
Okay,
and of
don't-
itself.
The
You don't
most,
need
the
to say
majority,
what
the
I-
I
majority
was
of
clarifying
the,
what you fucking said earlier. You denying
Sure.
saying that?
the majority of the
No,
the majority of the quote unquote
That's what you said.
harassment was just people talking about her. That's what she considered harassment. The majority of it was people who showed up in her Twitch chat to argue with her.
I'm not talking about what she considered. I'm asking retrospectively, do you feel as though stuff would have been better moderated with sly references here and there that you would have had to ban? And then people like, wow, why was that guy banned? There was on a Kiwi Farms thread where people would go, fuck with her, archive the crash outs, upload it up to Kiwi Farms, and have it as like a permanent harassment tool if people wanted to. Especially during your like further dramas with Anna.
You said the
Because I'm
thread.
even fucking
Hold on, wait,
doxing
wait,
I'm
don't,
even dropping
okay,
the
stop,
fucking
hold on.
swatting
Okay, sure.
stuff. We don't even have to talk about that.
That's
But I'm
fine.
talking in retrospect. Do you
In-
fucking regret it?
No, I think that it was probably the right move. But I can acknowledge it. Like maybe it's a hard move. Like you can try to just ban a topic and then ban everybody that asks about the topic and then don't answer why you ban the people who were asking about the topic. But like containment zones are well-known things on the internet. 4chan had arguably all of VG is a fucking containment board. Like 4chan had containment zones. Discord, Gisticle was a containment zone for drama in my stream before the whole court case stuff. Like this is like a well-known phenomenon that like if you want to talk about some shit, go there because there are usually less people there. It usually dies out over time, which it did. There were less people there. And then it avoids all of the attention in the main community. I think in retrospect, I think it was probably the right decision. I could see saying that like, well, maybe just having people ask questions about it is maybe better. But Anna was like ranting about me every single day on her stream. So people in my chat would have continued to ask. And I can't just ban all conversation about it while she's talking constantly about it because they're either going to go to her chat to talk about it, they're going to keep slightly referencing it in my chat, or they can go on Kiwi Farms to talk about it. It's a separate place. It's where you literally talk about shit like this. Like that's... Again, you can say that like I don't like your approach or whatever. That's fair. That's fine. But like to say that like I'm intentionally trying to exacerbate the harassment of her, that's a stretch, and you have no proof of that. And it doesn't even make sense because I could harass her
that's
e-
so many
not
better
even the-
ways.
No, people
That's not even the claim being made right now.
The,
to be, like,
the
totally
reason
clear.
this got
You're
brought up because it was brought
mischaracterizing
up.
what
It
I've
was
said
brought up by
already.
me. It was brought up by me. The reason I brought it up is just to signal that would be probably a better example of a case where you would have
No
reasonable
slurs, I'll be right
suspicion.
back.
Where you would have a reasonable suspicion that somebody would go and do something potentially bad, right? Because it's a
No,
site
that's not
that
true.
literally-
No, that's typically Kiwi Farms just for gossiping about people. That's generally what they do there.
Well, yeah, but also like making PII available that malicious actors can then access if they wanted to.
I guess, but like that doesn't usually matter for smaller creators or smaller people. Like it's just not like larger
I mean-
figures are way more likely to get like swatted or like real life harassment. Like nobody's
Yeah,
showing
but-
up to harass somebody with like a 10-page Kiwi Farms. It just
That
doesn't
involves
happen.
like
Unless you're
a
insanely,
whole
like,
lot of
mentally ill,
trust for
and
like
people
a
can
just
look for
random mass of faceless people. Like, I mean, sure, for some people it doesn't
As
happen.
opposed
For
to the
others,
trust
it
that I should
does.
have in my chat if Anna is ranting about me in an unhinged manner over and over and over again every day.
Why is it? Why you haven't argued for this dichotomy? Why does you shutting it down in chat have to result in you directing people to this site specifically if most of the chat at that point didn't even know about Kiwi Farms? Shutting the obsessive people down in general, if most people didn't know about it, then they wouldn't have even gone there as an alternative. So then where would they have gone?
I don't know. They could create a splitter Discord. They could create another community to chat about it in. That's usually what happens when you ban people and you don't give them an outlet for the stuff they want to talk about is they start creating splinter communities that you have even less control over that can get even more unhinged. So why not direct them to the place where people already talk about this shit? Why have them create another one?
Wait, why would a Splinter Discord server be more unhinged than Kiwi Farms?
Because it would be a place that would be like fucking dedicated to obsessing about this person, and then this community would have like other things that they could continue to talk about and grow on. And it just typically Splitter Discord. I'm sure you guys know. I don't know why I'm explaining this. Splitter Discords get cancerous as fuck. Way more than a random KF thread that died. By the way, her thread is dead. Like that's it. Like it. Like what I thought
What
would
happened
happen
to it after you
happened.
directed people there?
What?
What happened to it after you directed people to it there?
I'm sure there was probably a small flurry of activity, and then it died because
It
people were.
fucking blew up, right? Compared to how much
By
activity
like
there was
90%.
before.
Wait. Compared to how much activity there was before, it was just created. What do you mean?
It was.
Well, what was the posting rate at the time was it literally created that moment? Or was it around for like a few days before
I don't know.
that?
Somebody in my chat said that after I linked it, that there were like 6 posts created in the next week. I think is what somebody said. I don't know how true that is. I can't go back and check it. But it didn't blow up ever. It's dead. It died. It's got 48 pages on it. It's dead. It was never a super active thread.
when you say it was
Okay,
just
so
created,
Anna's Kiwi Farms thread had been created 2 weeks earlier. This is from, I guess, the Mr. Girl manifesto from the fucking Anna section. It's the best log of this stuff, I guess. Anna's Kiwi Farms thread had been created 2 weeks earlier and had averaged 1.4 posts.
Can we stop
per day.
entertaining this
Today,
pivot, please, and like talk about why we're fucking here? Like this was literally
Okay,
brought
Aiden,
up. This was literally brought.
you can let me finish what I'm saying, and then we can move on after, if you'd like.
Actually,
okay?
oh, dude, you're just
okay.
This is a pivot
Anna's
because he
Kiwi
has
Farms
nothing.
Threads,
Give us an
Anna's
example of
Kiwi
doxing in the
Aiden,
server.
Shut the fuck up. Anna's Kiwi Farms thread had been created 2 weeks earlier and had averaged 1.4 posts per day. The day Destiny signal boosted the thread, there were 35 posts, followed by another 99 that week. So whoever's saying like 6 posts, they're just fucking lying.
There were 34 posts over the next week, so it went from 1.9 posts a day.
35 posts that day. 35 posts that day. 99 posts over the following week.
How many posts are on a page in Kiwi Farms again? Is it 10?
It depends how fucking long it is, I think. I'm not totally sure.
I don't think so. All I know,
Was that
listen,
relevant?
well, yeah, because I'm just curious if that was literally the whole thread. All I know is that thread died pretty fast. There might have been a flurry of activity over a week or two. Although keep in mind, people were already posting about her in my thread, right? So they were already talking about her. It was being linked a lot in my community. Again, you can disagree with me telling people to go there and chat about it, but based on how everything turned out, I think it was probably the right move in retrospect. I don't think it's just like silencing all the conversation about it in my community and not talking about any of it there. I think that more bad stuff could have split off from that, but I think my decision was fine. And for you to stretch this to like I'm trying to harass her in a covert manner is just
You've said this like 5 times now, dude. And again, everybody, me and Aiden have both said that is not even the fucking claim being made. But you keep on going
just
for
for
it.
my edification, what is the claim being made? Just state it clearly.
That it was irresponsible. Destiny has
That it was
got.
irresponsible.
Aiden, you made the claim, so fair enough.
Yeah, I was
you
the
go
one
for
that
it.
made. I was the one that made the claim. It wasn't necessarily. It wasn't meant to be like an argument of itself. It was going to be an example of a case where I feel like you'd have far greater likelihood if since this is like doxing because you're making the information accessible to the server where they could then go and act on it. I brought that up as an example where you'd have actually more basis to assert that than you would here.
Sure,
right?
and if you
That's
listen,
why I brought
and
it
if you want to say this is irresponsible, then fine, you can say that. I think that's an opinion you could even defend. But it's way different than like I think you guys even use
don't
this.
do it again, man.
Well, no. We can go.
Nobody was
hold
saying
on.
this.
We can re-roll the tape if Wick wants to rewind, or we can. But because you guys all have used this phrase for like 2 or 3 years. Destiny intentionally sent his audience to Kiwi Farms to post about her with the basically the statement being that like I'm encouraging my fans to go and harass her there. But that wasn't my goal.
You
The
would
goal
agree
was
that's just
hold on.
like
Let me
the
finish.
plain reading of that sentence
No,
is like
the
true,
plain
no?
reading was that I was trying to increase the harassment of Anna, rather than this was a step I was taking to reduce the amount of conversation about her in my community.
That the plain reading of that is you did direct people to Anna's Kiwi Farms to go and post there. That's literally like almost verbatim what
but if
you said.
but if the next event after that is to reduce the amount of people talking about it or eliminate people talking about it in your community, which is larger, I think that's fine. But we can agree to disagree. But like
for all of the reasons that I just outlined, I just don't think that's fucking true. But we can go back to the smart stuff.
That's fine. You can say for all the reasons you want, but like historically, my argument was correct. It turned out to be the correct one. That thread died, nothing real or whatever came from it, and I don't know what would have happened if I would have let the people continue to talk over and over and over and over and over again. So
did it die because it peaced out on its own, or did it die because you stopped talking about Anna and stopped doing these like breaks in your media blackout?
I'm pretty sure it was only one break in the media blackout. I think I posted that link in my chat a single time. And I probably stopped eventually.
About Anna in the future?
I'm sure at some point we went back and forth again because she continued to talk about me, but eventually we stopped talking about each other. Then eventually, once she stopped doing that, there was nothing for me to talk about at all related to that. And then eventually people stopped talking about her. That was how it worked.
Okay. Let's do we want to move on to the next point?
Well, sure. Well, let's go back to well, now we've gotten all the Anna lore out of the way because I know you guys love to bring this one up. We roll it all the way back to the Shamu stuff. Shamu posted a doxing tool and the username of somebody in that server, correct?
That was the Candros.
I probably disagree with that description. I mean, would you like would
Wait,
you
what part of that
describe
description do you disagree with? Which part?
Sure. So it's an OSINT tool, and it becomes a dox tool when it's used to dox, right? Just like it's like describing a kitchen knife as like a fucking murder weapon if you're just using it for food processing. Like it's like
what else
I
can
feel
you
like that's,
use
like,
an
very
OSINT
loaded.
tool for?
Okay, so you could use an OSINT tool for like intelligence gathering for journalistic pieces where you're like purposefully omitting certain pieces of PII that you know will lead to like identifying the person's personal
Was
identity.
somebody
but you might
writing a
find another
journalistic
anonymous
piece on this
account.
person? Was somebody writing a piece on this person?
Shamu was heavily reporting on Tectone, and at the time, when they had been looking into this account, they were under the belief that this was possibly Tectone or somebody doing this at Tectone's directive. So yeah, Shamu, based on who they believe this possibly was actually doing a piece on this person, yeah.
Why did Nicandros post the tool then?
I'm pretty sure do we have the logs? I'm pretty sure it was between the two of them. I'm pretty sure wasn't it to give to him?